So Josh Poling, if I were to ask you to tell me the perfect meal was sitting in front of us, what would be in that meal?
Perfect meal sitting in front of you. I'm a Kentucky guy, and so for me it is perfect fried chicken with mashed potatoes.
Wow, any gravy?
No gravy. I'm a no gravy guy. I don't know why I'm that way, but I am. No gravy. Maybe white gravy. I'm a big white gravy fan. Fried chicken, preferably legs. I love chicken legs.
And would you serve it with iced tea?
Absolutely. Sweet tea. It has to be sweet tea.
Sweet tea, gotta
Yeah.
be sweet
Yeah.
tea. Welcome to Coffee Near Me. We're at Hickory Oak, the brand new restaurant owned by Josh Poling and his wife. And in addition, they own another restaurant called Home. But we're shooting here today, and we're excited to be here because before we go any further and take a look at this beautiful, spectacular place, let's talk about you, okay? You were gonna be a lawyer?
I don't know if I was going to be. I was going to try to be, certainly. Yeah, I went to school in Ohio, Miami of Ohio, and Oxford, and I have a poli-sci degree. I graduated with a poli-sci degree, but at the end of the day, I just knew it wasn't what I was meant to do. I like working with people, and I like being around people, and so I asked myself, hey, what do you really want to do? And I really wanted to open a restaurant. And so I went to culinary school and I worked the line, and I put in a lot of hours. I think a lot of people are like, you're so young to do this. I worked a whole lot of hours to get to the point to where I could take over a kitchen at a young age and then eventually open a restaurant at a young age.
But was there that aha moment, the epiphany, or just kind of cruising along going, this isn't feeling right, was there some big something that happened that made you think, I'm not going to be a lawyer, I'm going to do food?
Yeah, I worked in a couple law firms, and I just couldn't ever picture myself every day sitting in an office in dress clothes from 8 to 5 and then being done. I could never picture myself doing that. So I worked at a law firm. My dad had this smoker that nobody in the family knew how to use. And so I started, while I was working, I started reading. I started reading how to barbecue foods. And so that weekend, I fired up the barbecue pit. And then the next weekend, I fired up the barbecue pit. And before you knew it, every weekend I was barbecuing. And I was like, man, I love this. And I knew that's what I wanted to do.
But your grandfather also was a farmer, right?
Yeah. So that's what's kind of been neat about the whole journey is, luckily I'm coming into this at a time where artisan food and stuff like that is so big. But my grandfather, you talk about living off the land. I am one generation removed from, he raised hogs and he raised cattle, and you slaughter those cattle and that was your food. He had a garden out back, and I remember he sugar cured hams. So my family's from West Virginia, so in the South we have salt cured hams. He sugar cured hams, and I can just remember how excited we were every winter to get that sugar cured ham, and that would be our ham for the winter. But it was incredible. Great memories.
So you talk about artisan foods and farm to table. There's that return. For a long time we went away from that. We're coming back to that.
Yeah.
So is it just a trend, or is this
No,
reality, people?
I think it's reality, and I think every generation kind of controls food in their own ways out of necessity. And so I think for my grandparents' generation, I think it was a lot of processed foods because that was a new thing and it was an exciting thing. And a lot of people fault them for that. I don't fault them for that. I think that was just kind of the trend back then. But I'm very, very proud of my generation kind of being the generation. Let's go back to this. We find nose to tail cuisine exciting, and we want to know where our food's coming from, and we ask these questions that should be asked when it comes to food. And so I think it's a very exciting time, and I don't see it going away.
You talk about this return to artisan and farm to table. Food philosophy. At PBS, we have a mission statement that sort of guides us in what we do. Do you have a food philosophy that guides you?
My food philosophy, I guess, is cook the very best food possible with the very freshest ingredients possible. And that's what drove Home Cafe, and that's what we're hoping is going to drive Hickory and Oak. We're not doing this farm to table thing because it's trendy and it's cool. We're doing it because we want the very best ingredients possible. And so for today's example, I got tomatoes that were picked today. They weren't picked in Mexico and then gassed somewhere and brought in on a truck. They were picked today by Nathan Howe from Needmore Acres, and he brought them to this restaurant, and tomorrow they would be served to customers. The best food is the freshest food, and so that's why we go the farm to table route.
Someone once said to me, I was complaining about grocery shopping and having to take it home and unload it and then cook it and clean up. And he looked at me and he said, food is how we choose life. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the decisions you make by what you consume says a lot about probably the decisions you make in life.
Ooh, we're going to wrap it up on this one, but we'll come back and talk more. We want to find out more about this restaurant. You're watching Coffee Near Me. We're at Hickory Oak, a brand new restaurant in downtown Bowling Green. And join the conversation. And by the way, if there's someone you want to sit down and have coffee with, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.